Hi everyone, thanks for having me here. It's great. I love the symposium format. It's short, you can follow everything that is happening. Generally in conferences you get frustrated because you want to watch everything like you can't. So that's fantastic. So with my intervention, I'd like to present one of my work, which is titled AI Prison. Artificial Intelligence Prison. This is a work which is part of a series of works in which I'm investigating the gap between expectation and reality of artificial intelligence. I think that this gap is kind of increasing in the sense of what artificial intelligence is and the reality of it on the kind of pragmatic side, what it can do and what it cannot do, and what people instead expect or think AI is doing now or will do in a very near future, which is, in my opinion, just too much influenced by sci-fi fiction, a bit of also a kind of scientism rather than science. So, I'll show you the work at the end, because it's very simple in the sense like the graphics and so on. But please, if you can bear with me, I just want to introduce a bit more about the overall work. So the goal, the work is not, okay, I'm interested in this kind of increasing gap between reality, expectation and reality, but the work is not an analytical work, right? It's an artwork, and the premises of this work is basically posing the following question: are we serious? Are we really believing that computers will soon kill us all, like, and will be ruled by them, and singularity, if you know what it means like once the point at which computers will match our intelligence and exceed it, so becoming our own gods, and they will kill us all and make us useless. Are we serious in believing all this? Like, do we need this? Like, but most importantly, like, this is a debate that's been going on now for quite a few decades. There is a philosophical debate in it. Famous argument against it would be Searle Chinese room, but there is a wealth of philosophy and wealth of scientists as well that have been debating for the past 30 years or so, or even more actually. And so I'm not going to get into that, but the thing that I'm actually, with my work, trying to stress through a kind of tongue-in-cheek thing is, do we need as ourselves, as artists, are we really willing to take all this kind of artificial intelligence dream into our own practice? I explain myself better. There is a lot of sci-fi fiction and literature in that. But now what I see, especially in the academic environment, is happening that very often we use words such as the computer is intelligence, is creative. We talk a lot about agency, right? Which implies some kind of active role of a thing. And I'm not going to go into the details of this because there are also action network theory and all that kind of stuff. But are we really going to do that? I think personally that we've been gone a bit too far. And now I've been trained back in the days like as a guitar player, right? I was studying conservatoire, and I remember myself and all my colleagues, peers, we were talking and referring to the guitar as a person, you know, like he's alive, right? So of course we as artists involved with technology, sometimes we wish and we like to refer to the machine as kind of alive. But in reality, it's always us that is start inputting that kind of stuff. And we should be clear and we should be very careful when we write papers and be a bit more precise in that regard. The question is, what is art, right? And this is a question that has been asked for millennia. And what I perceive now reading, this might be just my own reading, right, is that to the question, what is art, that has been asked for really millennia. Now computer scientists, I include myself into that, have decided that maybe the question wasn't right. Maybe we should rewrite what creativity is, what art is all a mechanical process, discarding all a body of literature of people that have actually died writing about this subject. And just as an example, if any of us would believe that art is a mechanical process, a rational process, I would be very careful and I would ask you to rethink that. And with a simple example, I'm pretty sure you all know Bernard Russell, right? The famous philosopher and logician. This guy died at 97 years old. He wrote something like hundreds of books, at least 90, of which none about art. And not because he couldn't write about it. Because he said, that's my opinion, actually, he didn't say that, but this is my opinion. He simply, as a logician, didn't have an idea of what art was. Like, he couldn't grasp it. He was an exceptional logician, mathematician, philosopher, like that. But art is not necessarily logic. So, if we think of art as a mechanism, and here I'm going again to the kind of artificial intelligence thing, no, because they say computer can be creative. I think the creativity comes from the human first. Then computer is a tool, like my guitar when I was a student at conservatory. If it's a mechanical process, then we go in a kind of an infinite regression in logical thought, no? Like, and what's the cause of that, and what's the cause of that, and what's causing that is causing that, and so on and so forth, and in infinitum. And of course, the better question would be, why do we engage in art? What do we do it for? As both practitioner and audience, why do we see art in what we do? It's a human activity primarily. And we use several tools for that. Now, as I was having a quick conversation with Alejandro and Alejandra. The premise is, to a degree, is, okay, it's good to attempt to describe reality with logical tools, right? That's what science is doing. That's also what most of the philosophy has been doing in its history, with the continental school and the empiricism, right? And that's, or even the explanation, the proof of God, the existence of God, if you think of St. Augustine and so on. But one thing is attempting to describe reality with logical tools. One thing is thinking that reality is logical. That's a bit far-fetched out there. We can't pretend that nature was designed logically. Otherwise, we are going into religion domain. Okay, we have a God that has a massive design of everything is in place and so on. Free to believe in whatever you want, but that's the kind of line of thought you're following there. So, I have 5 minutes, so I want to describe quickly the job here, the work I've done. So, in a sense, like, I think art is intention, okay? Put in short, art is an intentional act, okay? Do computer, do Aaron. Aaron is one of the most famous artificial intelligence computer art example. Does Aaron have the choice to make art or not? No, right? You click enter, run the program, and he will do art all the time. He won't say at one point, sorry, today I have stomachache, or I don't know, I won't do something else. Like, no, he doesn't have that choice. So the work I created was this one. I'll show you. Prison, showing that you don't need to get very complicated with artificial intelligence methods to prove that the computer doesn't have a choice even to control itself. In this one, I have this simple C++ program. It's I don't know how many of you are confident in coding, but I guess quite a few are. But the logical thing here is that I didn't, the problem is in the second line, int I, semicolon. It should be int I equals 0. You always have to explicitly declare a variable. If I run the same kind of code in Java, it won't run, right? It will tell me error. You didn't declare the value, the initial value of that variable. But because this is C++ and it's a kind of lower level, like, it will run. And what I said here, why I is equal to 0? Because I will be given by default that 0 value, because there is virtual memory management. There is a lot of chain in place that the program and the computer itself doesn't see behind. It cannot organize its memory management, right? So basically, when you run this program, what is happening is that the operating system is saying, okay, you can use this portion of the memory, and I erase it for you, and you will run your program in that. There will be no chances for anything to intervene there and make a value different from 0. If in the odd chances, impossible chances, that will happen, I recommend to run, because there is the start of an evolutionary process which may end up giving you intentionality and eventually a computer which will tell you, today I don't create art, tomorrow maybe. We'll chat about this, okay? But it's really, really unlikely. And so I'm running, I can explain a bit more?
Yeah, you have 1 more minute.
Okay. So, no, actually, I stop here because I don't want to make it too boring on the technical side. But yes, basically, this is a kind of a play on code, as opposed to a play on words. It's very technically oriented, so if you're into programming, you may understand this a bit better. If you're not, I hope even to the non-technical minded, I provided some sort of explanation. But the idea is basically that the computer, I call it AI prison, because the computer doesn't even have the possibility to organize, to evolve itself, to organize its memory management, let alone to create art, to be creative, like, and do all that kind of stuff. So, in a certain sense, I'm saying, okay, and just as a final remark, I don't think making art with computer or with artificial intelligence software shouldn't be done. It's fantastic. But just let's, as artists, say, it's me behind all this process. Let's gain knowledge, courage, and responsibility on our own act. The computer is a tool. A great tool, but it's a tool. I'll finish here. That's it.
Questions and Chris Alejandro can assess it, please.
Yeah.
So I strongly agree with you, and I guess I come from some of the same background with respect to AI and programming, but I find myself challenged now. So a few weeks ago I went to a performance in the Vortex Jazz Club North London, in London, with a series of human performances, where in each case 3 pieces of music were performed. One was composed by human and 2 by machine, and the audience had to tick boxes to work out which was human and which was machine, and actually it was really hard.
Was really?
Really hard. We seem to have reached a point now where you can train the computers on so much content that they kind of pass this sort of Turing test.
The thing though, like, it's to the question, as I said there, like, to what is art? No, like, it's, despite this was discussed and it's been discussed and it's still discussed for millennia, nobody still agrees. Like, it's not like science in the fact, like 2 + 2 we agree it's equal 4. It's a very kind of unexplored, irrational territory right in there. So again, yes, there is Alejandro as well was saying about a company in Spain, no, that is creating music with an artificial intelligence tool, and is creating great music with it, and that's, I think, it's perfectly fine. I simply don't know how to evaluate that. No, it could be great. It could be. I think art is a human activity, and we enjoy it because we talk about it with each other. So again, like I wouldn't talk about this to the computer and say, "Oh, you did a very great job there with that composition." I talked to you about this. No, and you were talking to me.
So perhaps music ceases to be an artistic activity when the machines can do it.
Yeah.
Music.
I don't think so.
I think is when people want to have music and it's cheaper to buy it when it's done by a machine. I think there is a problem actually involved in it. So as soon as we accept mechanically made music as art, then we actually make art superfluous in a way. And therefore I can understand you
There is a
very much. But I think with music we are quite close. That you can just, because I think musical artists have the problem of selling their compositions and getting money even for things they actually really have composed.
There is one historical example of, for example, Mozart pupil, right? So, being Mozart pupil, it got trained by Mozart, one of the greatest musician and genius, right? So, of course, in music there are rules, right? And so the pupil was great at doing a copying Mozart style, but not that great. Still, we have in a museum a record of the pupil writing a sonata or whatever, and then we see the correction that Mozart gave to that, and you see that there is that extra value into it that you say, okay, that's why just rules are not enough on their own. So this guy was a great, but I can't even remember his name. I know this as an historical fact. So he was a known musician in his own time, but he wasn't Mozart. And even by the little minuet, the correction that Mozart, few notes there, here and there, he changed the entire atmosphere of the minuet. And I think that cannot be given with rational thought. It cannot be provided. It cannot be recreated with rule-based stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
Some added value that we have in our reality, which is.
Yeah, we're going to move
Yeah.
on now. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.